Welcome to Windy City Waves. I'm your host, Adon Herrera. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the Chicago Bears free agency offseason. So, to kick things off, the Chicago Bears re-signed linebacker Danny Trevathan to a 3-year, $21.75 million contract. That contract, to me, was pretty interesting considering that we were looking at Nick Foles as our linebacker for the future. And then the controversy with that is that he was going to demand too much in free agency. Now that he has signed with the Raiders, it's about the same contract that Danny Trevathan has received, the 3 years, $21 million. With that being said, I'm not that upset in the whole fact that we didn't keep Nick Foles and we kept Danny Trevathan, simply because Danny Trevathan was our captain of the defense. He's the one that has that green dot on his helmet that relays the plays, like the number one guy, like basically the quarterback of the defense that like brings in the plays that the coaches call in. So keeping him around, it just helps chemistry with the team and it keeps everything flowing just well. And him next paired to Roquan Smith is still really nice in my opinion. The next move that the Chicago Bears did was actually sign former Packer Jimmy Graham to a 2-year, $16 million contract with $9 million guaranteed. Not only did the Bears sign Jimmy Graham, that's not the only tight end that they signed. They also signed Demetrius Harris before the free agency period, or before the free agency window actually opened up. He was cut before all of the new season started by the Browns, and the Bears signed him to like a 1-year, $1.65 million contract. With those two guys, it kind of tells me that Adam Shaheen and Ben Broniker's time might be up with the Chicago Bears. Adam Shaheen, the second-round pick that has never lived up to his second-round pick status. In the fact that he's just been injured, very inconsistent. And going to Ben Broniker, I don't think he hasn't been bad for his career. He's been a good special teams player. He even played some fullback and everything, but he got injured this past year, and he's due for, I believe, over $1 million. And I feel like the Chicago Bears just can't have two tight ends of that caliber, especially now that we have 9 active tight ends on the roster. I feel like those are the first 2 to go. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how offseason works out. But, the Bears got 2 new tight ends, and that doesn't even include the tight end that we have currently, Trey Burton, that played the best he possibly could in the 2018 season, his first year as a starter. But, I mean, obviously last year, he didn't get it done. He was injured. He wasn't playing all that well. But, I think these 2 signings somewhat solidify the tight end position. It's a lot better territory than we were in last year at this time. So the next move that I feel like is very crucial for the Chicago Bears is cutting Leonard Floyd and signing Robert Quinn. We signed Robert Quinn to a 5-year, $70 million contract. It seems like a ginormous contract. I get it. But if you look at the intricate details of the contract, it is $30 million guaranteed. And it's basically kind of like a 2-year, $30 million contract. And he'll get about $15 million a year. So with that being said, Leonard Floyd was due to make about $13.5 million this season. Replacing that with Robert Quinn and adding $2.5 million to a contract is an upgrade. Definitely, in my opinion. Simply because Leonard Floyd does not get the sacks. He does not get the pressures on the right side to counteract to counteract Khalil Mack on the left side. So with Robert Quinn on the right side, I feel like a pass rush is just going to be significantly better, and this upgrades our defense tremendously. Leonard Floyd, I thought he was a good player, but like I said, he just didn't get to the quarterback, and that's what the edge rushers. That's where the edge rushers get their money, is once they get to the quarterback. So the next move that the Chicago Bears did was trading for Nick Foles, the quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who just a year ago signed a 4-year, $88 million contract to be the starter for Jacksonville. I personally love this trade. I feel like a lot of people are coming into this trade thinking that, Nick Foles is our new starting quarterback, but I really don't think that's the case. I feel like Mitch Trubisky is going to be the starter, and right now, more than anything, he's going to have a fire under him. Nick Foles is going to light a fire under him because Mitch Trubisky's never been in a position where he didn't have to worry about being the starting quarterback for the Bears. The only time he was is when he was a rookie and Mike Glennon was a starter. I'm sorry, he was never going to be the long-time starter for the Bears. Right now, Trubisky, the only other backup he's had is Chase Daniel. Chase Daniel was never biting at the bit to be the starter. Nick Foles is coming onto this team wanting to be a starter. And guess what? He's been a backup for most of his career, and he has thrived best when he's been in a backup position, or he has to fight for a job, or he has to prove people wrong. So I feel like it's a win-win situation for Trubisky. It's a win-win situation for the Chicago Bears and even for Nick Foles. I feel like this move will potentially get the best out of Mitch Trubisky. And, if he does go down or if he doesn't play well, then we have a very more than viable quarterback that we've seen get it done, be put into that role. Whereas if Mitch Trubisky got injured or Mitch Trubisky couldn't get it done like last year's Rams game, and we throw in someone like Chase Daniel, I'm sorry, but the rest of the season, we're not making the playoffs. He's not getting us on a run. We're not going to win a Super Bowl. We've seen Nick Foles do that, and that's what gives me a lot of confidence as a Bears fan. And another thing that I'd like to note with Nick Foles is I know that there was a lot of rumors of the Chicago Bears possibly getting someone like Cam Newton or someone like Teddy Bridgewater this offseason. I feel like if they were to make those moves, it would just completely end Mitch Trubisky's career as a Chicago Bear. At that point, they either trade or cut Mitch Trubisky, and I feel like that's a bad look for Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky had one fantastic season in 2018, and the team went 12-4, and it was his first time with a new coach, his first time with new weapons, and hey, obviously the defense was a lot better that year, but still, he made something happen in his second year as a pro. I feel like that year alone grants him this year of being a starter and possibly being, the franchise quarterback that we would like him to be. So, with that all being said, I think it's a great move that Nick Foles is now a Chicago Bear. And like I said, it's going to just light a fire under Mitch Trubisky, and hopefully we can get the best out of him because he's going to actually have someone chomping at the bit trying to get his job. So, wrapping this up, I feel that the Chicago Bears still have a decent amount of needs with this season, offseason still, or free agent period still starting up. So you can see them still going for like a cornerback. We still need to sign another safety opposite of Eddie Jackson. We have not re-signed HaHa Clinton-Dix just yet, so we'll see what happens there. There's still some strong safeties in the open market that are viable for that position. Also, we can look at some wide receivers and possibly some offensive linemen. Not possibly. I feel like in the draft or this free agency period, we need to get a guard or another tackle considering Kyle Long has retired. With that being said, once again, I'm your host, Adon Herrera, and you have been watching Windy City Waves. Thank you very much.